Oh, these are yours?
That's for you.
Oh, it's for me?
Hey, Jim. Good, good. We're starting the meeting. Okay.
Welcome to all our adoring fans. It's Monday, February 12th. Welcome to our planning board meeting. Please note this meeting is being made available to the public through an audio recording, which will be used to ensure an accurate record of proceedings produced in the minutes of the meeting. All comments made in open session will be recorded. Board member Jim Nunes is participating via remote participation in accordance with the requirements of 940 CMR 29.10 via speakerphone due to either personal illness, emergency, geographic distance, personal disability, or military service. All votes during this meeting will be made via roll call. Okay, so our first item up for business is administrative matters. Since we have the Country Club Cluster Housing Development hearing at 7:30. So we ended up with nothing in between then.
Yeah, but there's a couple things we can
go over. Exactly. So we're going to go over some administrative matters. We have our minutes to start with from the January 29th meeting.
I make a motion to accept the minutes from January 29th, 2024.
Second.
Okay. Roll call vote. Jim?
Aye.
Andy?
Aye.
Heather?
Yes.
Dan?
Aye.
Scott?
Yes.
And myself, yes. So moved. We've accepted the minutes. Okay. Up next, what is our,
Well, there's a couple of things.
yep,
Just to give you a report on the Affordable Housing Committee
yes.
and where we are vis-a-vis the town warrant. If you remember, a couple of years ago at town meeting, we did adopt the Affordable Housing Trust, but we also have to set a board of trustees with that. We also took advantage of the opportunity because the town, the select board was doing a bylaw review of the town bylaws. So as part of that, we looked at putting together a Affordable Housing Trust bylaw for the town. So I've got the draft for you here from the warrant, and it establishes the Affordable Housing Trust. So the trust can take in money, and it would be taking in money on a yearly basis from the Community Preservation Act, housing portion of that. We can also take donations. We can also come up with some creative ways to work with developers. As you know, when we did the age-restricted multifamily cluster zoning, we added in a piece there that said the 10% affordable could be either done on-site, off-site, or donation to the Affordable Housing Trust. So we had to establish the trust because we had that in the bylaw. This also gives us some more opportunities to think about some other creative ways we can work with developers to build up the trust. So for example, if we wanted to encourage some affordable housing in town, just as an example, if the developer came to us and said, we can't really do it at a square footage price that makes sense, we could say, hey, we'll meet the difference there as to where it would be for the affordability factor, and we could help fund the affordable piece of any development that came in. So we could work in concert with some contractors or developers or people who are interested in providing some affordable housing in town. The trust would be made up of 5 trustees with 2-year terms staggered, and we made a real effort to think about who we would want to have on the trust. So in section 2, appointment and tenure of trustees, you see that the trustees would be made up of 1 member of the select board, 1 member who is town manager, 1 member who is the town treasurer, 1 member of the Affordable Housing Committee, and 1 at-large member who is an attorney credentialed in real estate law. And we thought that would be important because, you know, we're going to be spending money and we have to do it by the letter of the law, specific to the trust and what we can and cannot do with the money.
Okay.
So if your real estate attorney does it for like 3 months and decides he doesn't have time to do it,
And it goes back to, that's all in here.
Okay.
If someone leaves the position, we have to have a minimum of 5, even though it's a maximum of 5. We always have to have 5. It's in the bylaw.
Yeah,
And then the select board would have the appointing authority
okay.
for a replacement.
Is that going to
would
be an
see-
elected position for
No.
that real? Okay.
No, it's an appointed
An appointed.
board by the select board. I wouldn't see the trustees meeting very often,
Okay.
maybe 4 times a year, quarterly. I think that's prescribed in the bylaw as well. The trustees are also able to invest the money that they have to grow it. So they may want to meet on a regular basis for that purpose. And depending on how many projects or what activities happening, they could meet as needed as well. So all that's covered in the bylaw. We did take advantage of the bylaw that was written for Hanover. So it's pretty much been vetted through the process in Hanover. However, town council is going to review this as well.
And how do people, like contractors or whoever, apply for it?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we had a lot of discussion about, do we still need the Affordable Housing Committee if we've got an Affordable Housing Trust? So what we decided was, yeah, we do still need an Affordable Housing Committee, because they're the ones who could really go out and start to, try to drum up some interest in it, discuss it, talk about it, and then bring it to the trust if they need it. In some cases, they wouldn't even need anything from the trust. But in others, there may be an opportunity to have the trust pitch in or invest in it. So they would do the vetting of the project, see if it meets the criteria necessary to go to the trust. And it also adds a bit to the accountability piece and the transparency of it as well.
Okay.
So it was, the quorum, so the quorum's 5?
Quorum would be 3.
3, okay. Yeah, sounds good.
And they have it's not just at their discretion, correct? They have like parameters like that.
Yeah, they're all here in they're all here in the language. All the guardrails are here, what they can do, what they can't do, what to do with property that they may not need.
Where does this money originate from? I know you said that people could donate to it, like this.
Yeah, I think in the beginning, the bulk of it will come from the Community Preservation Fund, because every year we get money there, and a certain amount of it, I forget whether it's 10 or, I think it's 10% has to be set aside for housing. And we don't get a lot of requests for housing at the CPC, so that money's building up. I think if we have a more active process between the Affordable Housing Committee and we have a trust, I think we'll find projects to spend that money on, within the parameters of the CPC, of course. It's got to be allowable under that.
Yeah.
For us to spend it.
And so since I haven't had a chance to read the whole thing, would they, so, like, if a developer, like, coming in and they wanted to buy, is it wording in here on how much they have to pay to, like, not have the affordable housing?
No, that's not, that would be on a project-by-project basis,
Okay.
based on the amount of units. I'm sure there'll be other criteria there. And that's another thing for the Affordable Housing Committee to kind of vet before it gets to the trust.
Okay.
And then on reports, so like minutes of their meetings and stuff will be or won't be?
Yep,
Okay,
absolutely, and a report every year to the planning board, I think,
okay.
and in the annual town meeting report,
So this is the select board.
select board,
What, yeah,
right.
that's good to me.
And again, this will be in the town bylaws, not the zoning bylaws.
Right. When do you, what meeting are you gonna try to get it to?
Then the next one,
Okay, cool.
it's on the warrant, actually.
It's on the warrant
Oh,
for May
Yeah, the placeholder.
or April.
I like it.
Do we know the date of the town meeting?
What's the date, Sue?
It is May 14th.
run before the select board and the advisory committee?
Oh, yeah. Actually, the subcommittee of the select board that's doing the town bylaw review had I'm not sure, it was a public forum last week
Oh, cool, good.
with all of this in it.
Yeah,
I'm not sure what the process is for the town bylaws versus the zoning bylaws. I know with the zoning bylaw change, we need a public hearing done by the planning board. I'm not sure if the same process goes with this. I would be surprised if it didn't.
okay.
But again, they need time for town council to review all these bylaw changes before, can get on the,
Did town council write this, or did they?
I don't know who wrote it.
Okay.
I mean, it's, we found a model bylaw,
Yep,
and instead of doing all the work, they did all the work.
I like it.
Yeah. And it's been vetted by their process, so,
Yeah,
it should be well received by town council.
yeah. That's great. I can't imagine you have any trouble with it at town meeting, but you never know.
Yeah, I think that,
You do never know, right?
the establishment of the trust passed right through, so,
Yeah,
Perfect. So it's just implementing what was already passed.
Exactly.
So that's perfect.
yeah. We have to do this because we passed that.
right.
Okay.
And it was a good opportunity because we're doing the town bylaw review,
Yeah.
so perfect time to do it.
Awesome. Okay. Great.
So,
I see we have a draft of, oh, did you have something else, Andy?
yeah, I just wanted to talk about the master plan. Is that what you want to go to next?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're on the same page.
Okay. This is just a draft of the implementation,
Yeah,
okay? It's not the whole plan. I encourage you to go, if you haven't already, and read the whole plan. But this encapsulates everything in the goals. And I took the opportunity to read through it and looking at all the champion column, seeing there's a lot under planning board.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think we should go through it and seriously look at it and keep in mind things like, are we going to be able to approach some of this? Where we have some limitations. There are some places where I'm not sure why the planning board was tagged as the champion.
update the town's website.
Yeah, exactly. Updating the town's website and advertising the GATRA services. So a couple of those things, that may just be some house cleaning, when it comes to,
Might have been the situation where there's
Yeah.
nobody else to do it.
it could be that, or it just could be just some housekeeping on this, where, they were cutting and pasting.
Yep.
Planning board was the one that they pasted the most.
Yeah, evidently. But
Although we are really the owner and the champion of the overall master plan, so we should take seriously what they assign to us.
Right. So are there some issues that you think we should dive in on first, since I haven't read through them all?
Yeah, I'm just, I'll go quickly through a couple of things that I looked at, like, I'm starting on page 1, the explore best practices for attracting and implementing local business sponsorships for the maintenance and beautification of street islands. Not sure that falls under the planning board. I'd like to know why, what's the thinking behind that?
Board for that.
I'm not sure. I don't know if it's out of the town manager's office or not. On the second page, 1-2.2, we actually did that already with the MBTA adjacent zoning. So it's nice to see something we can check off the list early.
Yep.
But the one missing piece from that is Business B. So we may want to take another look at Business B and see if it's feasible to add that to the MBTA zoning. Because if you look at Industrial A, Industrial B up in that corridor, or up at the Route 3 interchange, and then you go further down the corridor towards 53, that's all Business B.
Right.
So there may be an opportunity for the MBTA adjacent there as well.
Right, because there are some actual vacant properties on that area that could potentially be good places for housing.
Right.
Happy nice.
1.2.4,
That's interesting, huh?
I'd like to know a little bit more about it,
Yeah.
because I'm really not sure what that is. then for the rest of this page, I think we can get some help from the Old Colony Planning Council on some of those things. And we should spend some time going through this implementation plan and identifying who we can partner with to get some of these things done. On page 145, the 1.1-4.3, Matthew's in the audience. Do you remember when we did the total review of the bylaws? We had KP Law do it, and we did all of the, the language and the misspellings. We did all the corrections to it. It was about 5 years ago, wasn't it?
Of the zoning bylaws?
Yeah. Because we had to go to town meeting and get some of them addressed.
Yeah, I vaguely remember that. I mean, there was, maybe 5 years ago, we did like a pretty massive change, like, we had like, maybe like a dozen warrant articles.
Right.
Change. So there were some things that were kind of, that fell under, kind of like typos or like kind of little things that were clearly wrong. That just, it would make sense to fix them. I mean, there are definitely still some, I'd say, having sort of known the bylaws as well as I do, there are definitely still a few typos in there, or kind of awkward phrases that probably should be fixed, but they probably don't matter all that much in the big picture.
Yeah, and I know when we looked at things like overly vague passages, and we did have the discussion about a little bit of that, there were good reasons why we wanted to keep them that way based on the review from KP. So, I mean, that may be another thing we can check off, but, always keep an open mind as to making sure that it passes muster.
It's like here, 144 and 145, they both are under affordable housing, but wouldn't those both fall under,
Yeah, and we could take a look at that
I think those fall under us more so than,
yes, there's several of these under the Affordable Housing Committee that could fall under the planning board. That's exactly right.
Well, it could be that the affordable housing, I wasn't even aware that the Affordable Housing Committee reported to us, but maybe these drill down more into like looking for ways to do different things on those, and then they would come to the planning board.
Yeah, some of them
Yeah.
seem overly broad, though, for the Affordable Housing
Okay.
Committee.
I'm guessing. I'm just-
And then we should also look at the time frame, because I think time frame on some of these, especially if we're looking at 2-2.2,
Yeah.
looking at land use regulations, smaller homes on smaller lots, I think that's going to take a longer time. It also kind of conflicts with some of the survey findings.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah. Single-family homes is big on the why people want to live here
Right.
and what they expect,
Yeah.
as opposed to that. So I'm not saying we shouldn't look at it and seriously consider it. What I'm suggesting is that in the time frame, that's certainly not a short-term time frame thing. If we decided to pursue that, it would take an awful lot of buy-in and persuasion to pull anything off if we wanted to do it.
Right.
We may very well decide not to as well, or wait till another time. The Affordable Housing Trust, we did that, so that's another thing. Nice thing is there's a couple things here that we can check off already. If you look at things like 2-3.1 and 2, walkability in town center, connections between senior housing amenities and town facilities, and adopt flexible zoning standards supporting broader use of ADUs or accessory dwelling units. One is the select board and one is the planning board. I'm not sure they can't be swapped.
Right.
yeah, I think they probably should be small.
And some, I think, may have, and again, we'll let the master plan committee or the consultant give us some background on this, but I think some of these are in conflict as well.
Was is this kind of generated from the company that
Yeah, but they did a lot of input. I mean, they got a lot of
Right,
input, so I'd
but I'm
like,
thinking they probably have their own,
I want to hear, yeah, I'd like to hear more
Format.
about where, where did this specific thing come from?
right,
Right? Because if we look at the plan for commercial growth in line with pre-existing development patterns to preserve the density and character of residential neighborhoods, seems to be in conflict with 2-2.2, which we just talked about, with smaller homes and smaller lots.
right.
So, how do we land on a plan that can accomplish both or one over the other?
Right.
The other thing is expanding the commercial opportunities can be difficult because we're limited in the amount of zoning we allow those commercial opportunities to happen. We don't have a lot of land in business A or business B or in industrial A and B or the residential commercial. If you look at it, the number, I forget what the number is, it's 90%, between 90 and 95% is in residential. So, growing those economic development opportunities can pose a challenge without some significant change to zoning.
So on 2-5, they would like commercial growth as long as it doesn't mess with anything.
Yeah, it has that feel to it, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like, we want commercial growth to reduce our taxes, but we don't want anything to change. That's
Right.
All right.
Yeah, it's a much better way to put it, Dan.
Well, when was the last time the town looked at a multi-tier tax rate for?
Almost every year they
every
look
year?
at it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I knew it had been done recently, but,
The assessors look at that consistently,
Do you know why they never do it?
because there's no difference.
No, I mean, could they squeeze out a little more money? if they
No.
did? No.
Yeah. They do the presentation at least every year before the select board.
Actually, I don't think many towns around here even have that.
I don't know who does.
Yeah.
but I think that's the closest.
Who does?
Weymouth,
Weymouth?
significantly different
Yeah.
tax records.
Well, a lot more density in Weymouth as well, too. A lot more commercial.
Yeah. But I was just
opportunity.
thinking, like, if, we want to increase the taxes from commercial, but we don't want to impact anything else, so.
Right, it's a little
It's
difficult.
just asking the question.
Yeah.
And increase the workforce
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
to support it.
Yeah.
And we're supposed to solicit feedback from Pembroke's current younger residents to understand what attracts them to live here.
To live here?
Yeah, I mean, there's surveying we can do to get a feel for that.
Yeah.
Down and dirty surveying that we may be
Yeah.
able to do for that.
Hey, Andy,
Yep,
if I could make a quick comment.
sure.
I'm just looking through this stuff here, just looking from the viewpoint of what the planning board is supposed to do per state law and their own town bylaws. There's an awful lot of stuff here that is not what we're supposed to be doing. Like specifically taxes, that has nothing to do with us, and I don't think we can actually speak to it.
Right,
But that's just my comment.
right. Yeah, I got the same
I
feel.
think whoever's drafting this needs to be looked at by the committee drafting the master plan.
Yep, I would
And have
agree.
a look at what our responsibilities are and what they aren't, and what we're allowed to do and what we aren't allowed to do. Definitely zoning is us. But then, after that, it gets fuzzy really quickly, and probably we're not supposed to be doing it.
Yeah, for instance, yeah,
A lot of this seems to be the Board of Selectmen, in my view.
yep. I would agree.
That's my comment.
Yep, I would agree. I mean, just the example of 3-4.1, improve the permitting and business licensing process in Pembroke with attention given to best practices in the region. We have a Department of Municipal Inspection to do that. So
Yeah.
I think we need a crisper document when it comes to, who's responsible and where the work actually gets done. So I see we're coming up on 7:30.
7:30.
If everyone could take a look at this and jot their notes down and questions, and we can get it back to the committee.
Time frame on when they think they're going to be done?
Well, they plan on doing a public forum on it.
Right.
On
29th.
the 29th of February, and then it has to come for approval by us. We have to sign off on it. So, you know, the 29th is by no means an end date of the plan being complete.
They were hoping like April, May, that they'll be complete.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we've got plenty of time to dig in.
And the 29th, they have the public meeting at the library from 6 to 8.
Of February.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that gives them the opportunity to present to the town what they've done up to this point.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I think someone needs to reach out to Stefan. We don't have a quorum.
Oh, we don't have a quorum for this?
No, it's 5 of us, and it's,
We need 5 for the
I thought,
special
Jim?
permits, and we need,
he's missed me.
Because I thought he only had missed one. Because I thought he did the,
No, that was me.
oh, that was you?
Yeah, but he's missing this one, so he's going to have to catch up.
You can only do it once. Somebody
Right.
already did one, or somebody already did one, or.
Yeah, he didn't miss any others, though, did he?
I didn't look at, I don't think he did, but I don't know where he is.
I don't
I don't have that,
I
we
don't
don't
have
have
that.
Stefan here, can we get him on the phone?
Yeah.
but I think we need it.
We need that for any vote on the special permitting.
Even to close the hearing?
We could, and we could vote the site plan because we just need a quorum for that. But for the special permitting, we need 5 members,
Those specific 5.
those specific 5, yeah.
Yeah, does somebody want to see if we can get Stefan on the phone? Sorry, we're trying to get you a quorum. Jim Anderson, Dan Anderson, Dan.
Was that in our packet? Maybe just yours.
Well, worst case, we can, we have enough
Well,
to
has he
close the
only-
hearing, and then
Yeah.
we can, yeah.
Right.
So is,
We could vote the special
Is Deb
permits
coming?
at the next meeting.
is Deb coming? Oh,
Yes, she was coming.
Okay.
Talk to her.
Okay.
thank you.
All right, well, let's get this party started, see if one of you guys can get him on the phone, because that would make things a lot better here.
Yeah,
Okay, up next, we have
he hasn't missed one.
public hearing running concurrently for proposed site plan SP 3-22 and special permit for Country Club Cluster Housing Development to construct an age-qualified cluster development consisting of 172 residential units, mostly single-family houses, access drives, interior roads, modifications to existing golf course, extensive landscaping, stormwater drainage system, wastewater, treatment plant, and other alterations on property of about 244 acres located near West Elm Street and Dwelly Street, its official address being 94 West Elm Street, continued from September 12th, October 24th, November 14th of 2022, January 30th, March 27th, May 22nd, August 7th, September 18th, November 13th, December 4th, December 18th of 2023, and January 29th of 2024.
Stefan's on his way, if you want to recess for a little, like a couple of minutes until he,
Why don't we do that? That way we have a quorum, because I hate
Sounds
to like
great.
waste our
Okay.
time.
Good idea.
So we're going to take a brief recess so he's en route.
yeah, so, I mean, like 5?
Yeah, so we'll say 5 minutes.
You want to give
We'll
him 10?
all right, we'll reconvene at 7:45.
I'll make a motion that we recess for 10 minutes
7:45 it is.
until 7:45. Yeah.
Second.
Second. Roll call, Jim,
Aye.
Andy,
Yes.
Heather,
Yes.
Dan,
Yes.
Scott?
Yes.
And myself, yes. So, sorry for the delay, but it's better than coming back another night, right?
Yeah.
Thank you. So give us, can we just get started again? Everybody back? Okay, well, let's restart this. So, I think everybody's here now. We have our peer review, we have our quorum, we're good to go.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Jeff Taccio here for the applicant. Jim Bristol is with me here, and Taylor Corsano from Crocker Design Group is to his left. Thank you. And thanks very much. We've continued this a few times. What was going on was that Taylor's firm was interacting with your peer reviewer and working on various of the issues, working out, I think, very well, very positive, very constructive, and I think, the time was worth it because we were able to, I think, satisfy, issues that were outstanding. I believe that there's probably a letter or a summary that Deb can provide to you folks, but everything worked out rather well. We had submitted suggested a list of conditions that we took from all of our notes from the hearings before you folks, different issues that came up, and then we put that together, and I know that Sue kind of merged that with some of your other issues, so it came up with a nice list of conditions that we went through, which all, appear to be, in the aggregate, very reasonable, very applicable to the project. With that, I don't think that I want to go back through with any summaries. It has been a time since we were last here, but you folks have been, so attentive over time. I think we've concluded our summary. At that point, I would ask you folks how you'd like to proceed. If you'd like to get a report from peer review, and we can go from there, and then we can answer any other questions. And
Yeah, I would like to invite Sue on up to give us a review. I think that would be the most beneficial to see where we're at and kind of explain
perfect.
anything, then
Thank you very much.
clean us all up.
Good evening, Deb Keller with Merrill Engineers. So we have taken another review at the current revised plans that you have before you. I believe they have addressed everything. I did send in a final letter today. Everything is addressed, and I referred to, and I may have the conditions wrong, because I know it was a draft, but I was looking at the draft conditions and noting some of my comments were incorporated in some of those conditions, so I felt as though that we had addressed those. In particular, it would have been some confirmatory soil testing, just from the grading standpoint, logistics. It makes more sense to check it out during construction, because I do have some grade constraints. I believe it's right here, yep. Right at the end of hole 5, there's some grading issues that they need to adjust before they'd have to dig down a whole 20 feet to figure out what their groundwater is going to be after they regrade it, so might as well have them regrade it, then address it.
Is that where the connecting car path is?
Yeah, so it would be right at the end of hole 5 here. They have some grading that they need to do here where these T's are, and they have a basin intertwined in that hole, so to allow them to do that adjustment first.
Okay, but it's not going to interfere with the car path?
No,
Okay.
no. Let's see. Open space. I think they did identify in the cover sheet the 2 waivers that they were requesting, so assuming that you're comfortable with those 2 waivers, those would be on the cover sheet, identified. The specific, I think the biggest one is the setback to the property line. I think we discussed that at the last hearing. And then noted in one of the conditions, I thought it was condition 10, but I think they're numbered a little differently now, which would go with respect to making sure that they addressed any outstanding comments from the environmental partners report for the water distribution system, making sure that all of those comments get added to the plan. So they have done some, there are a few more that needed to be added or coordinated with the water department. Yeah, my numbering is off in my letter. Yeah.
So you met with the water department and,
I did not, but they provided a copy of the Environmental Partners report
Okay.
that was prepared for the water department for the distribution on this project, as well as Matakeesit Village, which was then provided to the applicant, and so that they could coordinate. I think there was, Taylor might be able to get into the specifics, but it was with regard to the water main connection that runs through the site and how they link it,
gotcha.
so that we make sure we've got a good system out there.
Good.
Is there like a drill down of the cul-de-sac at the end of Hazelwood? Like a drill down picture of what that looks like up close in this? Oh, is it this?
The one thing that I asked for at Hazelwood is to make sure that they were specific on the grading and that they were pitching their site back into the rain garden, the first sort of small BMP that they had here, rather to make sure that they're not draining any of the new roadway into the cul-de-sac. So they've showed additional spot shots at the cul-de-sac and showing it pitched back to the first two proposed catch basins that they have within their roadway system. So that means the site would be contained.
And it looks like, I can't really tell because it's so small, but did they move the driveway of the house over to get the easement and then?
They did. They adjusted the driveway and their road so that there was no more conflict.
Anyone have any questions? Comments, concerns? Scott?
That cul-de-sac still exists. I thought maybe you had a question at one point in the past. You can still do probably that.
Because if it was going to be a road, but they're describing it more as a driveway.
And it's pretty long. Approximately, how long is the driveway till you get to the first dwelling unit?
That'd be Fairview. You're going from here all the way to
Yeah.
basically that T.
Yeah. It's significantly set back.
Like 800, so the intersection,
Yep,
so that first house on the corner is probably 750, 700.
yep, makes sense.
Okay. Other questions? At the moment?
On the order of conditions, on the requirement for occupancy permits, has it taken into consideration the phasing of the project? Because usually we ask for an as-built and a review of the as-built before we'll issue an occupancy permit, but it's clear that this isn't going to be completed all at once for that. So I think I saw the language in there that our typical language as to issuing a occupancy permit that we require the as-bills to be complete and reviewed. So we should probably change that language to say that there'll be a phased review of as-bills as we go along, and then the as-bills on the roads and so forth will be the last thing completed, right? So are we comfortable with granting occupancy permits if the roads aren't complete?
Could you tie that to, because we did ask for a condition to show their construction phasing?
Yeah, I think we would, yeah.
Yeah, that would be a good one, to add it to the
Yeah.
construction
We don't want to
phasing.
hold up an occupancy permit because I understand this is going to take a long time to build out.
And they are individual homes. So do we allow,
Well, it's phased, right? You're going to phase it in neighborhoods built?
So that's 19, that's the new,
Condition 19. Right.
So they'd be giving you a construction phasing plan, so
I envision that being like, for instance,
this may be phase one, 1 and 2 to get this through road, and I'm just guessing. And then these would be
phase 2 and 3 possibly, or 3 and 4 broken up in some manner like that, so that if you have your construction phasing set up that way, you could probably do your occupancy the same way.
Yeah, I think we want to tie that into that condition 19.
Because before they get an occupancy, their wastewater treatment plant will have to be up and running.
So there's a lot of things that need to be done before the occupancy. Right.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
okay.
And depending on how they phase the project too, you'd want to make sure that their drainage is phased appropriately too, so that they're not cutting it off midway between one drainage system versus another, depending on the outlet, all the basins. For instance, this road has high and lows and discharges off to these basins, so this is a low point, you got a low point here. So they'll have to look into how they want to.
Yeah, and there's also consistent inspections along the way for us to pick up anything.
So do we need to change the wording in 19, or?
I don't know.
what is, you said your typical is that you don't issue.
Where was it that we saw the,
17, I think, is probably your typical language.
Correct.
that, right. Yeah, so how do we tie that to 19?
Say per construction phase,
For construction phase, yeah,
If we just add that to the,
yeah.
17.
okay. Any other questions from the board at the moment? See? No?
You want to ask you a question about the,
It doesn't seem to, so can we go back to the
Oh, sure.
17 guest suites in the proposed clubhouse? No, not clubhouse. the,
Pro shop.
Pro shop?
So what are the restrictions to how those can be used? Like, are they only rented to people who have events? Is it only to, like, I know we touched on this, and then we kind of went into the 3 buildings and what they were all going to be purposed for, but I guess I'm really specifically just to the 17 guest suites.
So what we would do is just what they do at other golf clubs, just accessory to the golf, the club and the facilities. So it's all tied in, it's, part of the facilities, et cetera, as opposed to, like a flagged, hotel or something, which, right, you folks don't want. So if there's something where people who live there, someone's going to come in, that would be, probably something that's an expansion of just, people with events that are there, that, they can come in, and then, it allows for something in town which isn't necessarily otherwise available.
So for events, for golf events, tournaments, for residents of the community, but not for someone just coming in off the street.
Not generally, but let's say say you have a Christmas party, funeral, something like that. If, someone local needed someone, typically something like that would be available. And you may know somebody who's a member of the club, a resident, and that's usually how things
How
work.
it goes through.
As opposed to, you're not going on TripAdvisor, you know what I mean?
Right, so
and
there'd be
doing
no
something like that.
advertising of this
Right.
hotel-like fashion.
Right, so it's, it's kind of the good part of it is, if you are there and you are a member of the club,
Yep.
or you live there, et cetera, you get an affiliation with the club, there's a certain cool, not cool, there's a good feeling. That's a plus, right? So it's something that, it's not,
Yeah.
it's not this wide.
It's another
open
benefit
thing.
of membership.
But
Or affiliation.
or affiliation, but people who stay there don't have to be members.
Right, right.
We see this in other clubs that are out there that, that are kind of at the level of where we're aiming this. There are municipal, just straight up municipal courses, public courses, et cetera. And then as you start getting more and more, kind of up with what we're looking at as far as the quality, that's when you start to see the introduction of having the guest suites. I don't have the letter with me. I apologize. I have a bag as opposed, my binder went somewhere wrong. But I did give you folks, I think probably in late November, there was that list of other clubs that do it, et cetera. So, that was, and I just don't have it with me, so I can't remember
So
it.
can we add a condition that the only use of these rooms would be to members of the golf course or affiliated events or homeowners of the community or members of the community? Just so it doesn't become, I mean, it
Am I missing something there? So.
Yeah, there needs to be a big investment to build that out.
Yeah.
So to restrict it, you'd want like people that live in Pembroke to be able to use it, not just the residents of the community. It's going to be primarily, you folks know how many weddings that
yeah.
held at Pembroke Massachusetts. It's that kind of event that's going to drive it, but to restrict it is going to make a difference.
Well, that's why I said affiliate. Affiliates being anybody who has an event there.
Right.
Or,
I can see where you're wanting the restriction, so.
so it
if for
doesn't
some
just
reason-
become a hotel-like.
If it changes hands, and then all of a
Yeah.
sudden
I'm
they
thinking
start
more
renting
longer
it
term.
out the rooms,
Like-
because it doesn't have that
Exactly.
restriction.
It's only, I think there was 17 or 19 or
Yep.
something. It's not like it's a big hotel.
It doesn't have to be.
Small.
Doesn't have to be. I just stayed at a hotel that only had
Problem.
6 rooms in Mexico, and it was amazing.
Right. And it isn't within this context that I'm having a problem with it. It's just to.
Right, you don't want it to
future,
be
you know,
like a
to become a problem.
Days in or something
Yeah.
like that.
Or even, you get the, I've seen it where, some hotels and stuff around, like down the Cape and stuff, it's off-season, so they just like, do winter rentals, and just trying to avoid that.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Is there a restriction on time, or is there any idea of time frame of rental, like a maximum,
Oh.
1 night, 3 nights,
Yeah, it would be probably a minimum one-night stay, but you'll get people that'll stay there for a week if they're
Yeah.
coming in from out of town for a wedding.
Right.
Yeah, no, like weeks seems
Right, but not a
reasonable,
month.
but 3 months sounds like it's
Right.
starting to be like housing. you
Right,
know?
right. So it's not going to be like a place application, like
Yeah, right.
residential type place. I'm what I'm doing is I'm taking notes. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to come up with some
Yep,
open language. Instead of saying shall be restricted to such and such, I'm wondering if there's another way to do it on the backside. Members of community events, affiliation with the club or the community.
yeah, so like if somebody has a family reunion and they live there and it's a 2-bedroom house, right, they want to have family members stay there, that seems like a really good
Yep.
use of it.
Another,
The right track. It's community, limited to community.
that makes sense.
I think saying the word community in there, I think is a good way to put it, because that way you're not inviting Airbnb or renting it out to farming it out strange, like 2 guys coming to golf for a week and staying there, kind of strange.
Yep.
So kind of by not doing Airbnb or hoteling it,
And the town probably is gonna make some money off the room tax.
Do you folks have hotel tax.
I don't think
I
we
don't
Place.
know, and I don't know.
We
that
don't
Yeah,
have any
meals
hotels,
tax.
We're
do we?
talking about Residence A.
Yeah.
Like, we're not,
Oh, right,
I
right,
mean,
right.
it's not
I don't
business,
think
like,
we have a-
hotel isn't business fee.
You will.
Yeah.
I just made note of it for the master
Yeah.
plan.
Just gave us another revenue source.
Yeah, I mean, it won't be huge, but it'll,
But I
How is
think,
it gonna be billed? Are people gonna be billed directly who stay there, or does it have to go through a,
would it be billed directly to the
Yeah.
people, or if it's like members, it can go
through
through
their
the billing of their
account? That's
accounts? Exactly.
so it could be billed directly?
Yeah, it could be billed directly, or say it's someone who's a member, it can show up in your house account, and, yeah.
so does our cluster zoning, because that overdoes the Residence A, but I don't think there's any piece in there that's about,
I couldn't find anything about
Rental.
hotel or renting. room.
Yeah, and this is accessory to it, so it's not a, standalone hotel, so it's accessory to,
right, but he's saying he wants to advertise it and stuff.
right, no, so it won't be,
Okay,
yeah,
Not advertised.
right, so it's accessory to the golf use, so
Okay.
where the bylaw talks about, there's recreational uses, et cetera, the recreational use here is golf use. And this is accessory, that's customarily incidental to that. Just like the restaurant, the function rooms, et cetera, golf cart storage, things like that.
And it's honestly better for, if you have a bunch of drunken golfers, to stay there for the night rather than them drive through our residential community and run over children on their way home from the golf course if they've had too much drink.
that's not really,
And drunken wedding,
All right,
whatever, maybe.
I've developed other golf courses and we didn't have places on site.
Sorry.
That's
But, and that can be a
everyone's.
hindrance, though, for people not wanting to have an event there because they don't want their friends and family to drive after a drink. Not
It's-
saying they're all
it's-
going to be drunk.
But there's other
I'm just-
ways to handle that too,
Yeah,
right.
transportation.
Are we looking for the word community to be that community or
I don't
Pembroke?
know, I don't know.
Just, that's,
Right, defining the word
in my mind,
community.
that's still an okay restriction.
Yeah,
think
I-
I'm just trying to keep it not to be everybody. I'm,
we're finding that the people putting reservations in for these units are Pembroke residents and their friends, and it's
Oh, for the dwellings?
yeah, for the dwelling. So we're finding that people who are already in town, they've got friends, and they say, hey, this is coming, and you may want to get in on this, and we're seeing things like that. So, especially being the 50, age restricted, it's got a nice feel to it, and people at that age group are traveling more, they're able to, visit friends, so that's what we're thinking, it's a nice hook. But if it could be community in the broader sense, I think that you folks, I think you'd embrace that. I think it would be a real amenity to everything you've got going on here. It's nice.
And do these dwellings have kitchenettes in them?
The dwellings have, yeah,
The suites?
No, the
No.
suites.
No. They're like a hotel.
Okay, thanks.
right, so no habitation, they're just, are we good with that language? Okay.
Yes.
Thanks.
And, yeah, I think that covers what you
Yeah,
wanted, right?
I think so. Thank you.
Perfect. Do we have any other questions from any board members at the moment? Okay, do we have any questions, anyone from the community?
Hold on 1 second. So, I just want to clarify on that chunk over off of Hazelwood. Are they still going to have the same clubhouse rights and everything as the community since they're so far away from the community?
Yes. Yes. So it's it is one parcel of land now. So when we put all of this together, there are the condo documents, there's the condo open space, et cetera. We wind up not distinguishing. So when you're there, you get amenities, et cetera, and it's got that path going back.
You guys have already gone to the fire department, they're fine with that cart
Yep.
path?
Yes. And it was designed in consultation with
So
them.
you're going to be plowing that all winter?
Yeah, what's
Okay.
very timely question.
Not tonight.
Right, so do we have any community questions? Do I have any members of the public that would like to ask a question or make comments?
I guess I'll be the only one. Greg Howell, 33 Country Club Circle. Yeah, sorry if I missed it, but I saw that there's a proposed hitting, I don't know what the term is, hitting bay?
Driving range?
Hitting bays, yeah, proposed hitting bays. Is there an elevation of what that's gonna look like somewhere in the submittal?
Maybe the grading, if you're doing like a visual of it, like
Yeah.
staring, it's not staring at it, but grading wise, plan view, yes.
Grading wise, plan views?
Not an architectural
Yeah,
elevation.
just from above, but not a side elevation or a front elevation?
It's not a structure.
Right.
Just like a concrete pad with a roof or concrete?
No, it's just hidden bays. Hidden.
Oh, just like the, like you see at any golf course driving range with the dividers, off of like a pad?
Yep.
Okay, yeah,
It will be like stepped a little bit just because of the grading, they're all flat.
okay, all right, so that was part one. The other one, you just started mentioning about, rules and regulations for a condo. Is there a draft of, condo rules and regulations that you are proposing to adopt for this community somewhere? Check. No. Those are my two questions.
Thank you.
Will there be, and will they be
It'll
available?
it'll be almost identical to what's on record for what we did.
For
in
White
Wyoming.
Rain?
Yeah.
So there will be at some point?
If you look at that one's been through a lot of revisions as people have lived there for 20 years, and so it's pretty tight.
Okay, thank you.
Any other community questions, comments? Nope. Great, board members?
Nope.
Anything? Nope.
I can make a motion to, you want to close the, I just have to remember what it is. Public hearing and site plan.
SB 3-22.
I'll make a motion that we close SB 3-22 and special permit for Country Club Cluster Housing Development.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Second? Okay, roll, I'm sorry, we don't need to roll call because Jim has to abstain from this one anyway, or should I still roll call?
Roll call it, yeah.
Okay. So Jim's off the phone, just, because he's listening on YouTube, because it was, so he could hear better.
Okay.
So if we need him for a vote, we need to just call him back, but he's watching.
Okay.
If we can all say hi, because it's like a 30-second delay on YouTube. Okay, so roll call vote. Andy?
Yes.
Heather?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
Stefan?
Yes.
Scott?
Abstain.
Oh, abstain, that's right. And myself, yes. Okay, so our public hearing is now closed. Okay, so now our draft decision and vote. So those amendments that we've made this evening, or changes to are there anything else that any of the members here would like to discuss? No? So right now, we're just adding the verbiage for number 17, right?
Well, we closed the public hearing, now we got to vote approval.
Vote
of the site
approval,
plan.
okay. So, I get the order running both at the same time.
All right, so I'll make a motion to approve site plan SP 3-22 at 94 West Elm Street, 0 West Elm Street, 80 West Elm Street, 54 Dwelly Street, 110 Dwelly Street, portion of 84 Hazelwood Drive, portion of 58 West Elm Street.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, so roll call vote. Andy?
Yes.
Heather?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes, but I just want to say I hate the Hazelwood piece and I hate the hotel piece. But I'll vote yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Stefan?
Yes.
Scott is abstaining, and, yes, from myself. Okay, and Jim was abstaining. Okay, so we've approved the site plan.
And now we've got to approve the special permit.
So the special permit's the one with the conditions?
They all have conditions.
Okay, so
So we're approving one or two special permits here?
Two,
Two?
right?
Two?
So it's my first time approving a special permit as well. Right, so for this, requesting the special permit for,
Okay, so
Cluster
the first special
development.
permit we'll grant is for the planning board, the age-qualified cluster development. So I'll make a motion that we approve the special permit under the zoning bylaws of the town of Pembroke to construct an age-qualified cluster development consisting of 172 residential units, several access drives and interior roads, a driving range, golf cart paths, a stormwater drainage system, a wastewater treatment plant, reconfigurations to an existing 18-hole golf course, and extensive landscaping on a property of about 244 acres. The residential units would consist of 163 new single-family houses, 2 renovated existing single-family houses, and a multifamily building of 7 units.
Is it, I think it's supposed to be 8 units.
I do, 8, all right, scratch that, building of 8 units.
which one? Mine says 7 as well.
Yeah.
Are there 2 of them, Sue?
Shouldn't be.
Oh.
Unless they're just giving you the wrong one.
The multifamily building of 8 units. Okay.
This one says 7.
It says 7
I
on
just
this
crossed it
one,
off.
but it's 8.
Okay.
So we need to just make sure we fix that on there. Okay, perfect. So do I have a second on that?
I second that.
Okay, so roll call vote. Andy?
Yes.
Heather?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
Stefan?
Yes.
Scott abstaining, and myself, Alicia, yes. And Jim is abstaining. So moved. Okay, and then our other special permit is, where is it on here? Or the, no, that's it, right?
No, that's it, I think.
That's it.
Yeah.
The others are for no variance, and, yeah, we're good.
You have to vote on the two waivers that they're requesting.
Oh,
Yes, before we can do the order of conditions.
so where,
Where are they? What,
Where are the list of waivers?
that's what I'm trying to find.
Usually,
wait a minute.
Starting on page 4.
Of Merrill's?
In the draft.
No, yeah,
Site plan.
okay. So I'll make a motion. I think these are the. What?
Waiver request down, right here, Dan, on the plan.
Oh,
That's why I'm like, I can't find them here. Where are they?
my glasses on.
It's been a long time, but we discussed them.
Yep.
I'll make a motion to approve waivers from the planning board rules and regs governing the issuance of site plan approval. God, is that 5-6-2 to allow
Bituminous.
Bituminous
concrete curbing? And then, is that 13.3.e?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
To allow a reduced perimeter setback of not less than 15 feet in specific locations as reflected on the plans.
Second.
Okay, roll call vote. Andy?
Yes.
Heather?
yes.
Dan?
Yes.
Stefan?
Yes.
Scott abstaining, Jim abstaining, myself, yes. Okay, so we've passed those, so now the conditions, correct? I'm doing that in the right order now?
I can,
So
I'll
do we
make
have to read all these?
make a motion for the following condition, subject to the following conditions. that all work should be done in conformance with site plan drawings entitled Site Plan Application Proposed Age Qualified Village at Pembroke Country Club, Pembroke, Mass, parcel ID B11-33, 172 by Crooked Design Group dated August 8th, 2023, revised December 11th, 2023, and received by the board on February 6th, 2024, digital file and hard copy. Number one, any other necessary zoning relief such, do I have to read all this? Is this part of the,
Approval subject to the following conditions.
I guess, yeah.
Yep.
Any other necessary zoning relief such as variances and special permits shall be obtained before issuance of a building permit. Number two, all vegetation planted in accordance with this decision shall reasonably be watered and maintained until established. Should any vegetation die off, the petitioner shall plant replacements. Three, all signage must comply with all applicable provisions of the town's bylaws and regulations. The street address must be clearly and prominently displayed on the primary sign visible from the public way. Four, the petitioner shall submit an as-built plan with a written statement that all the conditions of this vote have been complied with at the completion of construction. Before an occupancy permit may be issued. Is this the one where you went to?
Do we need to change that?
Yeah. So we'll amend that as per the discussion this evening.
Okay. As an occupancy permit may be issued, this as-built plan and the as-built condition of the site must be reviewed by the board's peer review engineer and approved by the board. How do I word that? And with changes as discussed in the record this evening.
And as per the phasing of the project,
As per the
in reference to
19?
17 and 19.
C 17 and 19.
Yeah, in reference to conditions 17 and 19.
The as-built plan shall be submitted in both hard copy and digital PDF format versions. 5, all site work must comply with existing regulatory town bylaws as to the times work may commence and end, and to the days of the week when site work can be conducted. 6, the final site plan drawings approved herein shall be submitted to the board in PDF format on CD, flash drive, or other media acceptable to the board before an issuance of a building permit. 7, in accordance with the bylaw, the approved site plan, both the decision document and the site plan drawing shall be recorded at the Plymouth County Registry of Deeds. This shall be done, and proof or evidence of it having been done shall be submitted to the board before an issuance of a building permit. The petitioner shall make an additional payment to the project's engineering review account to pay for anticipated construction inspection by the board's peer review engineer before issuance of a building permit. The amount required shall be communicated to the petitioner at a future date. Number 9, the petitioner, the project's engineer, and/or the project's general contractor shall coordinate with the board's peer review engineer during the project's construction phase to ensure the peer review engineer is able to conduct necessary construction inspections and is notified of when such construction inspections need to be done. 10, any outstanding comments in the peer review letters by Deborah Keller for Merrill Engineers and Land Surveyors of September 6, 2022, October 31st, 2022, November 9th, 2022, and September 13th, 2023, and January 23rd of 2023 shall be satisfactorily addressed. 11, with reference to the waivers requested from the Planning Board rules and regs governing the issuance of site plan approval, the board grants the following waivers as voted and approved by this board. Section 13.3-E for a reduction of the 50-foot perimeter setback down to 15 feet, and B, bituminous concrete curbing to Cape Cod berm. 12, the maximum number of bedrooms shall not exceed 3 bedrooms per unit, and the average of the total number of bedrooms in the age-qualifying cluster development shall not exceed 2.25 bedrooms per unit. 13, no lot shown on the site plan may be further subdivided, and a notation to this effect shall be shown on the approved recorded site plan. The applicant shall create a condominium association which should be responsible for the maintenance and repair of internal ways and driveways, snow removal, landscaping, utility services and maintenance, and repair of common elements in the facilities, and such elements and activities shall remain privately permanently, and the town of Pembroke shall not be responsible for such activities. The governing documents of the condominium association shall provide that all areas shown as or designated as open land on the approved plans shall be subject to restriction in perpetuity and enforceable by the town of Pembroke to ensure compliance therewith, that such designated open land shall perpetually be reserved for open space, conservation, agriculture, recreation, park purposes, or some combination of the foregoing. 16. The governing documents of the condominium association, as well as the individual unit deeds, shall include a restriction that at least one resident of the dwelling unit shall be over the age of 55. Oh boy. 17. No certificate of occupancy for a dwelling unit may be issued, and no conveyance may occur of any unit until all post-approval documents have been provided and approved by town council, and then duly executed and recorded, and evidence of same shall be provided to the planning board and the building department. 18. Prior to construction, confirmatory soil testing shall be performed within the area of Basin 1B and Basin 10B, as shown on the site plan, to verify soil conditions and groundwater elevations will support the design of the infiltration basin within this location. The applicant shall submit the results of the soil testing to the planning board's peer review consultant for verification. If the soil testing is confirmed by the planning board's peer review consultant, then no further action is required. However, either the applicant or the peer review consultant may refer the matter to the board for action as necessary. 19. Prior to construction, the applicant shall prepare a construction phasing plan that includes erosion and sediment controls for each phase and submit it to the planning board and the planning board's peer review consultant. The construction phasing plan shall be peer reviewed at the applicant's expense. If the construction phasing plan is approved by the peer review consultant, then no further action is required. However, either the applicant or the peer review consultant may refer the matter to the board for action as necessary. Excuse me. Prior to construction, the applicant shall obtain a construction general permit, CGP, from the US EPA and implement a stormwater pollution prevention plan, SWPPP, and evidence the same shall be provided to the planning board and the building department. Prior to construction, the applicant shall coordinate with the Pembroke Department of Public Works to incorporate the water distribution system design elements noted within the memorandum of environmental partners to the Pembroke Department of Public Works, dated January 24th, 2024, and incorporate the same into the final site plans. Prior to the installation, the applicant shall coordinate with and obtain approval from the Pembroke Fire Department, the Pembroke Police Department on final locations and the gate type system for 1, the access gate systems for the internal access drive to the residential portions of the development, and 2, the emergency access gates, including a lockbox or key, providing access to the multi-use path and emergency access connections. I think that's it.
That's it?
No, there's more detail in the. Yeah, I go through the rest of it.
All right.
Almost there. Yeah.
If the substantial use of the rights authorized by the site plan approval is not exercised within the 2 years of the date on which the copy of the decision is filed with the town clerk, then the site plan approval shall expire, provided, however, that the project as approved under the site plan must be completed in its entirety within 3 years of the date the site plan approval decision is filed with the town clerk, unless such time is extended by the vote of the planning board. And then any person aggrieved by this decision may file an appeal as per the zoning bylaws of the town of Pembroke, section B7H1, site plan approval appeals within 20 days of the filing of the decision to the office of the town clerk.
And we need,
Second.
But don't we need to add to that the additional about,
Do you have wording for the,
Yes.
because we need to add that on the record.
Okay.
Is the property gonna be marked no hunting, by the way?
No hunting?
Yeah. You're gonna,
Posted.
yeah, it would be my recommendation to post it,
Okay.
just because.
Guest suites shall be used by members of the community and members, affiliates of the community and golf operations.
Would it make more sense to say language inserted that to be determined?
Well, that's good enough, I think.
Okay,
Yeah, I think that,
what was that again?
Oh, you're killing me.
Okay.
I need it again.
Well, what do you mean? It's not like these.
Just convert that into sentences.
And the sentence.
We just get it on the microphone, so we can always play it back.
Yeah, again, so for your purpose of your vote, again, so you heard the first one, I'll try to re-articulate it. The on-site guest suites shall be for use by members of the community and guests affiliated with functions and golf operations.
I'm never gonna remember all that.
It's okay.
just say,
That's Sue's job.
Okay.
We'll get it done.
Associated with the property.
Okay.
You got it recorded.
We got it recorded.
All right.
So that, I think,
Right, perfect.
there's
And-
85% overlap.
And we're gonna have to see it before we sign it.
Right,
All right,
okay,
And any other additions?
we're gonna vote it.
yes.
So I second,
Okay, we have second, okay, so roll call vote. Andy?
yes.
Heather?
yes.
Dan?
Yes.
Stefan?
Yes.
Scott is abstaining, Jim Nunes is abstaining, and I vote yes.
Excellent.
So approved.
Been great. Spent the last few
All righty.
I'm just glad I don't have to read the
Lie to
dates
us,
again.
keep lying to us.
We're getting there. So, congratulations to everyone. Folks that really like how this all comes out. It's been a long journey, but we have that course there for so long to be able to preserve that and do it economically. With the 55 and over housing, it's just progressive, fiscally responsible, and it's going to help achieve all your recreational needs.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All righty.
Yeah.
I just want to thank the board. It's been 5 years working on it, before Jeff got involved. And I want to thank Greg from the neighborhood group. We look forward to building something that everybody in the community is very proud of. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Chairman,
Yes,
is there anything else? Because I was gonna make a motion to adjourn.
that's all I'm looking for.
Do you have anything?
Okay.
Oh, we're not gonna go over the entire master plan?
We did
We
that.
did
pretty well.
already. You missed it.
Oh, that's good.
Last meeting and this meeting, and you missed both of them.
Wow,
So,
that's great.
all right, so we have a motion on the table to adjourn.
All right.
Second,
Okay, roll call vote. Andy?
yes.
Heather?
Yes.
Yes.
Dan? Stefan?
Yeah.
Scott?
Yes.
Oh, you
Jim?
came late, so now
Yes.
you want to stay late?
And myself, yes.
Well, you know.